Welcome to the Don't Call It Small Business Podcast, powered by Foreman and Associates, LLC, a consulting and professional development services firm. I'm your host, Natasha Foreman. Our podcast provides professionals and organizational leaders with helpful advice, tips, and business news that you can use for training, development, strategic realignment, and more. We examine the tough questions and issues impacting our businesses, households, and communities. If you like what you hear and find the content useful, please share us with your inner circle. Now that we've covered that and you've learned a little about us and why we do what we do, let's get to work. Join us for today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Don't Call It Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Foreman. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today. All right, this is our last part of this long multi-part series of how to start a business or reimagine an established one. This is episode 100, part 13. Some of you may be superstitious, but there are a lot of you that like 13. You're like, yeah, Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, her favorite number was 13. So, we've covered a lot. We've incorporated everything that makes up a very extensive business plan. Let's go into some of the nitty-gritty to look at a business specifically. So now you know what goes into a traditional, extremely long, possibly 100-page business document, but we're going to look at some other elements and also look at what you need to do to go ahead and hit the ground running successfully. So how do you go about choosing the right business plan for your business? It's going to depend on factors like your industry, your goals, your target audience. You're going to consider a comprehensive plan for investors or a lean startup plan for quick execution, and you're going to tailor it to align with your business's unique needs and vision. Now, if you're hearing this and you're like, wait, what happened? Wait a minute. I missed all the other meat and potatoes. What's going on? Well, that's because you're in episode 100, part 13, when you need to be in episode 88, part 1. So if that is you, pause me, go back, take that journey. You're not late, you're not behind, you're right on time. But if you have been tracking with me now for all 12 parts of this, and now you're in part 13 with me, congratulations, you're ready to explore. So let's look at some things. Let's look at the types of plans. So we have different functions, right? We have, if your audience is internal, you can use different types of business plans, and if your audience is external, you can use different. So let's say that these are all internal, and you want a loose guide of objectives and you want a timeline. You would use a lean business plan. If you want a detailed, brass tacks type of blueprint with your goals and your timeline, just for your internal team, you could use the traditional, very extensive business plan that we've been covering over the weeks. If you need a strategic document and you need a narrative focus, because you're looking at organization-wide goals, you're looking at the vision and priorities, we would then use a strategic business plan. If you're trying to get a loan or grant from an outside source, you're going to need that traditional with a focus on those financial documents, which we covered over the past few episodes. If you are trying to invest partners or investors, you're going to need that traditional coupled with a strategic plan, which is going to focus on the financials as well as support your departments such as, sales, products, marketing. If you want to test your business or your idea, you need to internally, you can use your lean plan. So you may be asking, well, what in the world is a lean business plan? Well, that's a streamlined 1-page or 2-page document that focuses on key elements such as your goals, target market, strategy, and the essential financial projections. It is to be concise and agile. It's making it ideal for a startup or businesses that are in dynamic environments. A traditional business plan is that detailed one we've been covering. It's going to outline every aspect of your business, including your executive summary, the company description, your market analysis, your organizational structure, product service details, marketing and sales strategy, the financial projections, all of that, right? Everything that we covered is what comes into the traditional. It's comprehensive. It's often used for seeking funding or as your extensive roadmap for your business. When you're looking at the strategic business plan, this is a document that's going to outline your organization's long-term. Remember, I've explained this to you guys over the week. Strategic is always long-term, tactical is mid-range, operational is always short-term. So it's going to outline that those long-term goals and the strategy to achieve them. It typically includes your analysis of your current business environment. It's going to have the vision for the future, key objectives, the action plans needed to attain those objectives, and those plans will guide your decision making and help align resources with organizational priorities. So I utilize all of these for myself as well as for my clients. Now, someone may say, well, is the order of my business plan important? Well, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no. So the order, it can be important when it helps to present information logically. So it will begin with your executive summary, followed by the company description, market analysis, organization and management structure, product or service details, marketing and sales strategy, and then it usually concludes with your financial section, which has the projections. This sequence basically ensures a smooth flow of information, which is offering that comprehensive understanding of the business. If you move things here and there, fine. Just make sure there's some ebb and flow. You don't want to be dancing off rhythm. Does that make sense? So we have this now, and you guys now know all that it entails. So what are the steps to start a business? So first, you're starting with the idea and the research. So you're going to identify your business idea. You're going to conduct the thorough market research to understand the viability and potential. See how we do this before we write out the plan? Hence why I've had you do all of this, or as much of this, before you're actually now trying to type into a plan. Because after you have the idea and you've done the research and you're looking at that viability and the potential, you then can develop a detailed business plan which will outline the goals, the target market, your competition, your financial projections. You then have to focus on the legal structure. So you choose whether it's a sole proprietorship, LLC, corporation, and then you would register accordingly. And I'll talk about that in a moment. You then go and of course, the name and the branding. You'd select a unique business name, create a strong brand identity. Next up would be setting up a business bank account, securing funding if needed. You'd establish a system for your financial management. You'd make sure you have your necessary permits or license that are required for your industry and location, whatever is needed for the city, the county, the state. You would secure and set up your physical or online business location and acquire any necessary equipment or software. You'd build your team if needed. You'd hire employees or collaborators based on your requirements for your business. You would develop your marketing strategy to promote your business and establish your sales channels. You would then execute your business plan and officially launch your venture. And then you'd monitor and adapt, right? Continuously monitoring your business performance, gathering feedback, and be ready to adapt your strategies as needed, as we've talked about week after week. So you have to remember your business is unique, so these steps may vary based on the nature of your organization and your specific circumstances. Now, I want to cover the different legal structures of the business. As I mentioned, the LLC, so on and so forth. They each have their own implications for taxation and liability and management. So the common ones are sole proprietorships. That is a single individual owner. There's unlimited personal liability. The business income is reported on the owner's personal tax return. With a partnership, you have two or more individuals. The partners share the liabilities. There's a pass-through taxation where the profits or losses are reported on each individual's tax returns. With an LLC, which is a limited liability company, the owners are known as members, and they can be individuals or entities. So another entity can be the owner of an LLC. Members are personally liable. Their personal liability is limited in this. With the taxation, the flexibility to choose between pass-through taxation or corporate taxation is possible. You do have to petition the IRS for that. For corporations, The owners are shareholders. They have limited liability and there is double taxation. So the corporation is taxed on profits and the shareholders are taxed on dividends. With an S corporation, you have shareholders that are owners. It's limited to 100 and there's certain criteria that's attached to that. Shareholders have limited liability and the taxation is passed through, which is similar to your partnerships, which avoids the double taxation. So the choice of your legal structure depends on factors like liability protection, taxation preferences, and the nature of your business. So it is important that you consult with legal and financial professionals to help you determine the most suitable structure for your situation. Now, if you're looking at how to select a unique business name, you need something that can make you visible and help with branding. So some of the steps that you can utilize is brainstorming. You can generate a list of keywords that are related to your business. You can consider your brand identity and values and target audience. You can check online for domain availability for short-term or short-listed names. You have to make sure that a name isn't already in use by another business, of course, in your industry. Uniqueness. You want to choose a name that stands out and is distinctive, so avoid generic terms that might be used by many businesses. Memorability. Opt for a name that is easy to remember and spell. Avoid complex or confusing spellings. Don't put a Z when an S. You can really mess with someone like that. And you can actually send them to another business unknowingly. Relevance. Ensure that the name reflects your business's products, services, or values. Consider how well it resonates with your target audience. Think of the legal considerations. So check for trademarks and ensure the name is legally available. Register the business name to protect it legally. 7, scalability. Consider future growth and expansion when selecting a name. Ensure the name is versatile and not limiting. Feedback. Get feedback from potential customers, colleagues, or friends. Ensure the name has a positive connotation. You don't want something that sounds like, you're doing something illegal or trifling. 9, check social media. Confirm that the name is available on major social media platforms. Having consistent branding across platforms is essential. One thing that when it came to Don't Call It Small, we were able to have it on all the other platforms, but when it came to Twitter, someone had it and it was I don't even want to go there, but so we selected It Ain't Small for that. That is one of our tie-ins, is Don't Call It Small, and our other is It Ain't Small. And then, of course, once you find a unique, memorable, and legally available name, make sure you finalize your choice. And understanding that your business name is the first impression that customers have. So make it meaningful and representative of your brand, of where you are and where you want to be. Now, for those of you that have a question about how to set up your business bank account, it involves several steps. And here's just a general guide. You would choose your bank. So research different banks to find one that suits your needs and offers the services that you require. Typically, you'll need your business formation documents, which would be your articles of incorporation, or any articles that are tied to your LLC. You would need your EIN, which is your employer identification number, which you get from the IRS. It is free. It does not take long. You can do it online or through the phone or do it live with an operator. And you would need your personal identification, so driver's license or state ID. You would schedule an appointment because it's so much easier. Contact them to schedule an appointment to open an account. Visit them and bring all the required documents. Sometimes you can do it online and then all they need is you then to come in to then verify what you've submitted. Provide any necessary forms about your business structure, ownership, and operations. You would then make a deposit of your initial funds. Some banks require this, some don't, to activate your account. So be prepared, though, to make that deposit. Ask in advance before you come there so you're not sitting there looking like a bumbling idiot. And then receive account details. So once the account is set up, you'll have that information, including the account number and any relevant business checks or debit cards to get you started. You'd set up your online banking services to manage electronically, and then look at the additional services that they offer, like business credit cards, lines of credit, or other financial tools that might benefit your business. But don't dive into stuff and then find yourself in debt. I'll just say that in a negative way. Don't end up in debt in a negative way. And then maintain compliance, making sure that you're maintaining compliance with their requirements and you're properly and promptly providing any requested documentation that the bank needs. You have to remember that you have to keep your business and personal finances separate by using your business account exclusively for business transactions, no commingling of funds. The specific requirements can vary by bank, so it's advisable to check with your chosen institution for their detailed process and documentation. Trust and believe, I understand there's been times where I've grabbed my card and used my personal card for a business transaction. I'm like, oh crap. And then what I end up having to do is then send in a reimbursement back so that can be transferred or direct deposited on my check, and then there's a line item attached to it. Same regards where I've used my business card for something personal and I'm like, and then I have to then pay the business back. But, don't let that be what you do, like you're just doing that for regular. Now, you may also have questions about how to get those necessary permits and licenses that are required. Understanding that this is a general guide. It can vary by state and county and town and city. But what you need to identify is the requirements that for your type of business, and understand that it can vary based off the industry and the location, as well as the business activities that you're involved with. So you do need to research and reach out to local city or county government offices, as well as state and federal agencies, to understand what permits and licenses that they require so that you are in compliance. And understand that a lot of them, there's going to be money attached to it, whether it's an application or whatever the case may be, that they may have a fee attached to it. Remembering those different business structures, and under the LLC, the corporation, sole proprietorship, they may have different requirements. So you have to understand the regulations applicable to your business entity. So usually the secretaries of state for each state will have a website, and it's usually a corporations division. And they may say that the fee for your LLC is $100 or $125, or depending on the state, could be a lot more for the application. And there may be, a renewal fee, blah, blah, blah. You need to make sure you compile necessary information that's required, such as the business plan, identification, and any relevant certifications that you have. You would submit that documentation, making sure that you're on top of the deadlines and any accurate information that you can provide to help expedite the process. As I mentioned about the fees, make sure you're prepared to pay those fees or any licensing costs that are associated with your permits. And then you just have to wait for approval. They usually will outline the window of time. It could be days, it could be weeks, but they'll let you know. And then once approved, you have to make sure that you are prominently displaying the permits and licenses at your business location as required. And keeping track of any renewal dates for permits and licenses, staying informed of any changes in regulations so that you can ensure that you remain compliant. And then always consider consulting with professionals such as legal advisors, industry experts, to ensure you've covered all necessary legal requirements for your state, county, city, county, or wherever, right? Just remember that compliance with permits and licenses is essential for the legal operation of your business. And if you fail to obtain the required permits, that can result in fines. They can even shut you down. They're not playing with you. It's advisable to check with local business development offices or regulatory agencies for specific requirements in your area. Now, another thing that may come up is like, okay, well, right now it's just me, myself, and I. How do I build a team with my startup? Some things that I recommend, that we've talked about it over the past few weeks, is that you already define the roles that you know you need now and that you're going to need in the future, as well as define the needs that you have. So clearly define those roles and then identify the skills and the expertise that's required for each position. You need to create a compelling vision. So can you articulate and communicate clearly and boldly the vision that you see for your startup when you're looking down or through that telescope into the future? You have to be able to do so passionately. And what you'll see is that passionate and visionary leaders will attract like-minded individuals for the most part. Sometimes they do attract some old scuttlebugs, but for the most part, you're going to attract that like will attract like. Network and attend events, right? Network, or you can say relationship build, however you want to look at it. Attending industry events, networking functions, conferences to meet potential team members. This can also lead to valuable connections. So this could be something that you can actually have team members. It could be something where you can form some strategic alliances, partnerships, so on and so forth. Something else, you want to be able to utilize online platforms like LinkedIn, AngelList, or industry-specific job boards. I think AngelList changed their name recently. And you can find potential candidates there. ZipRecruiter, Indeed, blah, 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 right? Leverage your network. So tap into your personal and professional networks. Referrals from trusted sources can also lead to team members. I will also say something else too is colleges. We have a lot of folks that are, seniors in college or graduating from college, and they need to, get that fresh start. Some of them are trying to go to grad school, and they need to be able to build a portfolio. So working with you can also be a win-win for them as well. Let's see, leveraging your network. So tapping into your personal and professional networks, getting referrals from trusted resources or sources can lead to some strong team members, especially if they're trusted and you know their character and their core values, and the people they're referring to you are like-minded. Consider hiring freelancers or contractors initially. This can allow flexibility before committing to full-time hires, all right? It also will help possibly keep your overhead costs down. Look for cultural fit, and what I mean by that is assess not only the skills but also the cultural fit. You're looking at the core values. You're looking at how you see things and how you approach things in comparison to them. Having a cohesive team with shared values helps to enhance the collaborative experience. And then offering competitive compensation. So you may have some budget constraints as a startup, but offering some competitive compensation or benefits or equity can definitely attract top talent. Another thing is highlighting growth opportunities, emphasizing the growth potential. Talented individuals will seek opportunities to learn and advance in their careers, and sometimes they'll understand that trade-off of the compensation for the abilities to have that growth and development. Making sure that you guys are conducting thorough interviews, rigorous interviews to assess both technical skills and cultural fit, soft skills, the whole nine. Behavioral questions can reveal how candidates approach challenges. You want to be able to see how they're going to interact with your customers, your clients, your vendors, your suppliers, so on and so forth, with other employees, how they deal with conflict, how they deal with failure, how they deal with mistakes, how they deal with rejection, how they deal with crisis, how they deal with change. Like, you need to be able to get into their mind and heart to see whether or not they're going to be a good fit, or if this is going to be a turnover disaster that you're going to waste all this money on. It's important that you communicate your values and your mission to anyone and everyone. This helps attract individuals who align with your company's ethos. And then your onboarding process should be structured. It should be able to integrate new team members seamlessly into your startup culture. So I just want to make sure that you remember that building a team is an ongoing process. As your startup evolves, so will your team's needs. So you have to stay adaptable and flexible and be open to feedback so that you can foster a collaborative and innovative work environment. So I hope that has been beneficial, and I am excited to hear about your businesses, to hear the names and the ways in which this multi-part series has helped you. If you have any questions, if you need our assistance in some other ways, we have our blog that you can access through our company website, where we also provide different tips and suggestions and just some insight. And as you grow and evolve in your budget, you have a line item for consultants and implementation and training. Definitely consider Foreman and Associates. I'm throwing our hat in there. Visit FOREMANLLC.com and learn more about the company, the services that we provide, and how we are determined to fulfill our mission of helping you find and achieve your why. All right. So that's that, folks. I look forward to our next episode. We are going to venture into some other realms. And I hope that if you have any questions, that you will definitely reach out to us. It is that time to wrap up and go our separate ways. Until next time, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please rate and review this podcast so that others can find us. We want to make sure we give proper credit for our show's theme songs, thereby the talented and amazing Shane Ivers. Thank you again for tuning in to the Don't Call It Small Business podcast, for sharing these episodes with others, and for your continued support over the years. And don't forget what we tell you on each and every episode. Don't call what you're planning, thinking, dreaming, or doing, little or small. Go big, go bold, or go nowhere. See you next week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, there's 4 things that we ask of you. First, please leave a rating and review. Second, be sure to connect with us on social media. Third, head over to foremanllc.com/podcast to sign up to our email list. And fourth, check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in to the Don't Call It Small Business podcast, for sharing these episodes with others, and for your continued support. And don't forget what we tell you on every episode. Don't call what you're planning, thinking, dreaming, or doing, little or small. Go big, go bold, or go nowhere. We can't wait to reconnect with you soon. See you next time.